Good afternoon, Spencer County. It's been quite a while since I've had an opportunity to address the entire community, but it's been even longer since we've had children in our halls, in our classrooms, seated, learning, teaching going on. Now that we have closed officially the current school year, we can now begin looking on next year and what next year will look like. As we talk about the beginning of the school year, the first thing that I need to address is to ensure that my recommendation to the Board of Education will be to start later. There's two reasons for that. The first is the fact that we can take advantage of statute in the sense that we have additional unforeseen circumstances arise throughout the course of the year. The statute will allow us to calculate instructional hours while not being as concerned with calendar days. The second reason, and the most important reason, is the fact that the longer we push through the year, the easier, or the sooner I should say, that we can expect to have teachers in front of all of our students once again. There are many, many more questions than there are answers at this point in time. And as the governor had an opportunity to address folks Wednesday, he produced a 25-page document, guidance document, related to the expectations and the recommendations for returning to school, of which did include wearing face masks when moving, wearing face masks if you are less than 6 feet apart. We'll still have to consider social distancing. We'll still have to consider how we're going to run the logistics of a bus route with 31 route buses in a scenario that would actually take us about 110 buses to run under the guidance that has been given. Understanding the logistics of such is going to be nearly impossible. However, we have a plan in place. Been working with the Board of Education, been working with principals since we closed out the last instructional day earlier in May. What we intend to do is to provide distance learning. Now, some will ask what the difference between NTI days and distance learning is. Distance learning is a much more organized experience online. Teachers will be in classrooms teaching. We know that we can have them in the classrooms whether we have students or not. They will also be accessible for phone calls, for assistance, to give additional feedback and resources. What distance learning will not include is paper copies, worksheets, handouts, things of that nature, in order to make the instructional experiences as rich as we possibly can. We're currently targeting about 10% of our student body, based on the last survey, who have absolutely no internet access or devices in their homes. If that is the case with you, please send me your information, your location, your students' names, and so forth, so we may begin building a roster to accommodate those students inside of school. Now, there will be several others that we can look at, but there's going to have to be specific criteria built as to who is actually in school and who is not, as many of you in the last survey suggested that you're not ready to come back to school August 11th for fears and other concerns related to this virus and this pandemic. However, if we look at pushing up the school year to August 26th, that may provide a little bit more relief. I don't know how much more relief. In the scheme of things, as we are told this could last another year, that again is unforeseen circumstances that I can't comment on at this point in time because we just don't know. All we do know is that instruction will be delivered in Spencer County schools next year, one way or the other. But if you are one that does not have internet capability, please send me your address, your students' names and grades, so we can begin building a roster to accommodate our most at-risk students first. As we go on down and consider things related to this, I don't think we'll have to worry about supply lists this year. One of the things that we did discuss was having students to bring a face mask or hand sanitizer, things that is extremely difficult for us to get our hands on right now in bulk. Again, those students that will be participating in person is still unknown as to how many. We also know that as we begin this school year, this is something that no one has ever experienced before. We do know that NTI last semester and the last few weeks of the school year was not nearly as rich as in-person instruction. I don't expect distance learning to be as rich as in-person instruction either, but I do expect it to be far more organized, with teachers having the ability and the resources, the professional development, and whatever else it takes to conduct lessons online to access later. There will be another survey coming out next week. Again, the first survey a couple of weeks ago was simply to provide a baseline of what the community was thinking as it relates to beginning the school year and how they intend to begin the school year. Professional development for teachers will begin later in the summer, knowing that if the recommendation is taken by the Board of Education at the July meeting, we'll have most of August to prepare. The Learning Summit will still go on, but it will look much different than it has in the past because of social distancing. When we consider open houses and things of that nature, again, they will go on because it is very important that we have an opportunity to see our parents, to see our students, to help them understand how education will be done, at least throughout this first semester. But once again, those open houses will be done quite differently because of social distancing. We may see a scenario to where we have an open house for the same school every night 1 week, just to ensure that we don't go over the numbers that we are allowed to by CDC guidance. Baccalaureate service. That is taking place this Sunday at Spencer Christian beginning at 6 o'clock for those graduating seniors of 2020. Further, as I had alluded to earlier in the year, we do have something else planned for our senior class. We are looking at the first weekend in August, hoping that we can catch most of our students before they go off to their universities, work, military, whatever that may be. Unfortunately, it's not going to be as nice as what I thought it was. We were actually intending on having alumni games, having the prom one night, trying to wrap up everything we could in one weekend for our senior class, who has missed out on so very much this year. But we will have a graduation type ceremony on Saturday in order to get pictures, to have students in their caps and gowns. We'll have a reception in the breezeway, the field house. Now, all of this is pending weather. If Saturday does not work out, Sunday will be the next available date and opportunity to conduct this. Obviously, details will come later, as we still don't know how many students and parents that we can have in attendance, especially in an outdoor venue where they can spread out. But once we have that information, these webcasts and videos will take place each Friday for the coming couple of months, either by myself, my assistant superintendent, or district administration, to keep you all informed of where we are and where we're going. But again, circle your calendars for the first weekend of August so we can, in fact, do the best we can to provide our graduating seniors, the class of 2020, a send-off. We have heard of people wanting sentimental bricks from the old TES building. As you're well aware, we are now in the beginning stages of our next building capital construction project of a bus facility and the new early childhood learning center. As these bricks are coming down as we speak, I've talked to the general contractor. Sometime next week, they will begin taking bricks and piling it outside of the security fence where the front of TES and the old preschool building meet. Again, we'll gauge on how many based on the number of bricks that continue to stay there or how long they stay there. But I do know that if anyone is wanting a memento of the old TES building outside of the gym floor, that we will have bricks available to pick up as you see fit and as you wish. As we consider the beginning of the next school year, once again, there are far many more questions that we have right now than we have answers to. But as I stated earlier, now that we have officially begun the 2020-2021 school year, we'll be having these updates each Friday for the coming months in order to prepare everyone with the knowledge that we have learned throughout the course of this week. As you have seen, this pandemic and the news associated with it does change weekly. Plans change weekly. So it's very difficult to nail something down and make it concrete at this point in time. But it is our hope that by waiting a little bit later in the school year, we will hopefully be able to get all of our students back under one roof inside the classrooms, teaching and learning as it's been designed to do so. Until next Friday, we wish you well. Thank you for your support. I hope everyone stays safe, and I hope that you are somehow maintaining your sanity, as I know that I'm quickly losing mine if we don't get students back in these hallways and have that social atmosphere before much longer. Thank you and have a blessed weekend. Bye-bye.